Hello everyone and welcome back to a short EP review, and in this video I'm going to review White Label 5 by Technical Edge. Technical Edge has been for me one of my all-time favorite producers in drum and bass and Darkstep. However, I haven't really paid that much attention to the latest stuff that he has done, because the last time I remember Technical Edge making the Ambient series, in which I heard a few of the stuff and it didn't really grab my attention that much. I didn't really find there was anything particularly interesting about those particular releases. This, alongside with me not searching that much about drum and bass as the years would go by, made me be unaware of this brand new series of Technical Edge, which is the White Label series, in which we see Technical Edge actually going back into the direction of drum and bass that I really enjoyed out of him, and particularly a sound and atmosphere similar to what we saw with the Progress Threat trilogy, a triple album series in which I find Progress Threat 1 to be one of my all-time favorite Darkstep releases. It was an incredible combination of chilling dark atmospheres and ambience alongside with some sick old-school drum and bass breaks. This is the same case with Progress Threat 2 and 3 as well. However, those two albums ended up feeling eventually being more of the same, and I didn't really find the ideas and the atmospheres to be as much compelling in comparison to what Progress Threat 1 did. With that being said, I decided to just jump right into White Label 5 being my introduction to this new series, and this actually makes me to wanna go back and listen to what the other White Label releases have to offer by themselves, because as White Label 5 stands on its own, it is a pretty solid and really good release. Like I said, it has many similar aspects to what you can find in the Progress Threat series, in which I find in some cases to not be one of its biggest strengths, as it makes for some of the tracks to be somewhat predictable and not really providing some of their greatest ideas, as we've heard stuff similar to this being done and executed better before, but still there are tracks to this EP that keep the energy and the dark atmosphere that made the previous releases so special. So I find this to be also implemented in really nice ways over here, especially with the very first track, X1, which has some really strong vibes on some of the elements that I enjoyed a lot out of Progress Threat 1. In terms of its beat, it's not necessarily that much aggressive, it's straightforward, but it gets the job done. It is really well executed in that regard, managing to be catchy, but the overall atmosphere and sounds that play in the background are really dark and create this haunting feel, in which Technical Edge is a master on this at this point. He manages to create some tracks that, in terms of just the atmospheric patterns, they manage to sound really good, alongside with a bass synth that is slightly distorted and creates this somewhat intense atmosphere to the song, but it never really gets out of the way to distract from the overall experience. For the most part, we're talking about a pretty atmospheric track over here that mostly focuses on its melodic aspects. Like from the usual stuff from Technical Edge in the past, we still get some really lengthy tracks over here. This one goes for almost 8 minutes, and I believe it justifies itself for its long runtime. For the most part, I'm really in favor of those more extended runtimes, as long as the ideas provided to them are really solid, and I believe that X1 is a track that manages to keep the pacing in a really good position, and I find this to be an excellent track overall. On the other hand, the very next track, X2, sort of does the bare minimum in my opinion. In comparison to the first track, this one feels quite underwhelming in my opinion in some aspects. I don't think there is that much with the atmospheric patterns managing to evoke that much of a dark emotion to me, and it contains a drum and bass break that is a quite usual one. It's one of the more aggressive ones, but we've seen Technical Edge use it a lot of times. He is mostly known for some specific sounds when it comes to drum and bass breaks that he would use, and this is one of them, and I don't really believe that there is really that much done with this particular beat at this point in order to make it sound that much more refreshing. I don't really believe that there is that much with this particular song, with its atmosphere or what it does with its beat structures. So for this track being the lengthest over here and going for 8 minutes, I don't really believe that it works that much greatly with this particular song. For me, this one could have been over in the 5th minute mark, because after this point there is not really that much that this track does anyway, so the pacing is kinda slow, there is not that much of a variety being provided in this particular track, so it kinda gets repetitive quite quickly. I can't really say that I was that much of a huge fan of Y1. I believe that there are some great aspects out of this song when it comes to how it's structured and some of its melodies, but it wasn't one of the most memorable tracks for me. Actually, it was a bit forgettable, mainly because I believe that it's another track that goes for some pretty usual patterns when it comes to the sound of technical hits, with this one not really extending the formula that much further or providing something that much refreshing. It is still a pretty solid track, but definitely not one of the most memorable moments in this particular project. White, on the other hand, is possibly the closest for me reaching the quality of the track X1. It is a great balance of dark atmosphere and intensity. Again, not really done with a drum beat that is that much aggressive or intense. It's mostly a track that focuses on its melodic aspects and its atmosphere, and I believe that, once again, Technical Hits does a really solid job with this particular song, managing to sound quite menacing and chilling in some aspects, while maintaining the catchiness that you can find in drum and bass. Z1 contains for me the most infectious and most memorable atmospheric synth keys out of this whole project. This pattern of those two sounds playing one after the next is really solid, and the overall atmosphere that it creates is like really powerful and making for some of the most intriguing moments out of the whole project. There are also some incredible transitions when it comes to the beat. I like this smooth transition from the really basic beat pattern to then occasionally add and include some cymbals and percussion, which would make the beat sound more fulfilling and more catchy. However, with this track I feel that there could have been a bit of a more variety to it, as in its almost 8-minute mark it becomes kinda repetitive, and it doesn't really change a lot after a certain point. Like, you could easily make this track being like 5 or 6 minutes long, it would feel more solid with its pacing and structure. With that being said, this, quite lengthy for an EP project, contains some of the elements that I love a lot when it comes to the more recent sound of Technical Hits, and I believe that for the most part it's executed really nicely over here, even if it has its inconsistencies, mainly because you can't just play with the same sounds over and over again and all of them to manage to hit it being impactful in the same way. Still really digging the sound of Technical Hits to this day, and this makes me wanna go back and see what the other white label releases have to provide. I'm gonna give White Label 5 a 7+ out of 10. What's your opinion on this EP? Like it, dislike it, why? And what do you want to review next time? Let me know down in the comments. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video, subscribe for more content like this. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye.